Hey, what's up guys? In this video we are going to create an amazing and beautiful looking movie seat booking app with just JavaScript. So if you're excited to build this project, smash the like button and subscribe to this channel. And also tell me in the comments what you have learned from this video. So let's get started. As you see, first of all we have a header section where we can select the movie that we want. We have four options right now. For example, I will select the Joker or any of the other movie which are Avengers, Joker, Toy Story and The Lion King. I will select the Joker, and under the selection portion we have an visualization of seats. White color represents the occupied seats. As I am selecting this, these cannot be selected. So the second one are the blue color which show us which have been selected. We can also deselect them, and the gray color shows which are free seats that we can select. So these are the seats visualization, and under this section we have a screen section which is quite amazing and beautiful. We have a box shadow which is looking beautiful, and under this we have a left portion of seats, the middle one and the right one. On the left portion we have two rows with 8 seats. In the middle section we have 4 rows with 8 seats, and on the right side we have two rows with 8 seats. And at last we have a paragraph, or we can say simple text, which show us how many seats are selecting and the price of these seats. So for example, if I select one of these seats or two seats, you will see the text shows us you have selected two seats for a price of $24. You can select any of the seats that you want. This will automatically update these seats and the price. So there is another feature. For example, if I will change the movie name, for example, the ticket price for Avengers Endgame is $10. So if I will hit click on the Avengers, you will see the price automatically changes from $72 to $60. So you can use with any of the movie, the price automatically changes. So without wasting the time, let's get started and go to our code editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code. You can use any of the code editor that you want. First of all, I will create a boilerplate of my HTML file. I will change the title to movie seat booking, and then I will import my style sheet which is style.css, and at the end we have our app.js which is our JavaScript file. So I will import both of these files, and then I will open my index.html file with the live server. So as you see, we have nothing right now, but we will build it. So let's go under the body. So first of all, we have a movie container. This container will contain the selection portion and the labels, so and the seats. So first of all, create a container which will name it as movie dash container, and in this container what we have is a label for our selection portion. We don't need a for, we just write it as a pick a movie. So under this label we have a selection portion with a tag of select. So let's create it. So select, will give it an ID. We don't need a name, so ID is going to be movie. So in the select portion we have options. As you will see in the demo, in the select portion we have options of 4 movies and the price of these movies. So let's create this portion. Let's go to our code editor. As you see, we have first of all we have an option portion. Hit enter. Value is going to be $10 for Avengers. $10 is for Avengers. And the second movie that we have is Joker. So we have a price of $12 for Joker. So I think we will write it a price at the end of the name also in the brackets, which is $10. And then the second movie that we have is a Joker. So for Joker we have a price of $12, and under this we have a third movie which is going to be the story. It has a value of 8 because we want the ticket price for this movie to be $8. So the top story, sorry, not top, not, this is a Toy Story. The name is going to be Toy Story, and the price is going to be, I think we have $8 price, so write $8 in the brackets, not a 9, 8. So the last portion or the last option that we want is the Lion King, and the ticket price is going to be $9. So let's write the Lion King, and also write the price in the bracket also. So it will be $9. So this will be the selection portion of our website or our project. So under the select, so this is the end of the movie container. Basically this container contains this portion of the movie. We will style it later. So as you will see, this is the demo and this is the real app, and it's not looking great right now. We will fix it. So let's create the other HTML portion of our project. So what we will do, we have a list with the class name of showcase. So in the showcase we will have a list, and in the list we will have a first div of class, and the class will be a seed. So give it a seed. This will be an empty because we want to create these seeds here. These are the seeds that we want to create. So let's go to our index.html file, and under this seed we have a small tag with a text of not n-a. So this will be the first list, and we want two of them more. So let's create the other two. We don't want a capital Li, it will be the small li, and the first one will be the same with the class of dot. It will have a class of seed, and it will also have a class of selected because we want it to be selected. So the div will be empty. We will style it in the CSS file, and we also have a small with the text of selected. So the other thing that we are going to do, under this li we have another li, and in this we have a same pattern. Now this container is about the occupied, so we'll create a div with a class name of seed and occupied. So let's hit enter, let's save it, and now you will see we have, so we want to give a text to the occupied, so give it the text small, so it will be a occupied. So let's use a small tag and give the text of occupied. Now save it, and now you will see we have 3 list items, but we'll style it in this way. So don't worry right now, this is the just the HTML markup. So under this UL we have our container of seeds and a screen. So let's create a container which will contain, so this container will contain this screen and our seeds. So let's go to the HTML file and create it. First of all, I will create a container, and in this container we will have a empty class, empty div of screen. So we'll style it in our CSS file, and under this screen we have our rows. So we want 8 seeds for each row. Let's see. So these are the rows that we want. We have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 rows, and 1 2 3 4 5 6, we have 6 rows with the 8 seeds. 2 plus 2 4 plus 4 8. So we want to create a 6 rows and 8 seeds for each row. So first of all I will create a row div. So in this row div we will have a 8 seats. So for this I will create a class of seat. So we want 8 seats, that's why I will hit 8 and this will automatically create 8 seats for us. Don't want to write a content in it. I will style it in the CSS file. So let's go to the under this row. Oops, so under this row we want 6 rows. So let's copy this whole row and repeat it 5 more times. Control C. 1 2 3 4 5. Oops, I think we have 5 seats or 5 rows. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we have 6 rows, but we also want some of the rows to be automatically selected. So for this let's select some of the seats, or we can occupy some of the seats and we will style it in our style sheet. So in the second row, as you will see, in the second row we will select 2 seats, and furthermore in the next rows I will also occupy some of the seats. So we'll style it in the, so for example in the second row we will select the last, not last 2 seats, I think we will select these one, the fourth one from top, give it a class name of occupied. Occupied, give the two of them the class of occupied, and in the next row the last two ones will be unoccupied, so give them a class name of occupied, the last two one. So occupied, and the next row we don't want any seat to be occupied, so let's create to the next row. We want the fourth and the fifth one in this to be occupied, which will be the 1 2 3 4. You can use any of these seats that you want, because this will be for test purposes, because we want an automatically occupied seats when we'll go to our app. So for this I'm using this class name, so it will be the fourth one and the fifth one that we will use and occupied. So the last row is going to be the not the last 3, apart from the last we have 3 occupied. Oops, don't do a spelling mistake, so it will be an occupied, the last 3 one apart from the last. So let's save it. I think this will be the end of our HTML file, but we want to use some paragraph at the end of the file, which will show us the number of seats that we have and also the count and the total price that we have. So I will create a p with a class name of text. So basically in this p tag we have text of you have selected. It will be a span because we want to update it from our JS file. So span is going to be a 0 right now, and we will give it an ID of, let's give an ID of count, because this will be the count of the seats. So you have selected 0 seats for a price of, it's going to be in another ID because we want to update it from our JavaScript file. So the ID is going to be total, and I will give it a number of 0. Let's save it and go to our project. Here you will see a no change right now. We will fix it in the CSS file, and the magic will happen in the CSS file and in the JavaScript file. So don't worry, let's build this app. So just go to the style sheet, and here what we'll do is first of all we will fix the default margin and padding. So we don't want a default margin. Set the margin to 0. Padding is also going to be 0, and the box sizing will be a border box. So let's save it, and we will give some of the properties to the body also. So oops, don't do a spelling mistake. And in the body we have a font family, which will be this one, and we also have a background color. Oops, background color is going to be 24, which will be something like gray color. 24233. So this will be the background color, and the color will be white because white color will be visible on the black background. And we will use display flex to move our container at the middle. Flex direction is going to be column because we want it in the column. Align items will be a center. Justify content will be also be a center. Oops, justify content center. We will give it a min height of our body of 100 viewport height because we don't want to move away from the screen in the bottom. Let's save it, and now you will see a magic. And these 4 to 5 lines have clearly create a magic, and now our style is looking beautiful and amazing. We just have to do a sum of the CSS styling with our list items, and we also want to create rows and screen. So let's go to the style sheet. First of all, what I will do, I will target the movie container. So let's target the movie dash container, give it some space. So give it a space of, let's give it a margin. So margin is going to be 20 pixels from top and bottom, and 0 from the left and right. Let's save it, and now you will see a change. Now we have a space between our movie container, and in the movie container we have select. So I will target this. It's going to be this one, the select option, and let's style it. So use a curly braces, and in this option we will give it a background color of white. So its background color is going to be white. Border radius is going to be a 5 pixel. We don't want a border, so that's why border will be a none. So border will be none. Font size we will want a 14 pixel. I think it will look good. So 14 pixel, and margin left is going to be a margin left is going to be, I think, 10 pixel will look good. And let's save it, and now you see, now we have a changes. So we also want to add some of the properties or values. So margin left is going to be a 10 pixel. Let's give it a padding because we want a space in the inner side of the text, so it will look good. So padding is going to be a 5 pixel from top and bottom, and 15 pixel from left and right. So just give it outline of none. Let's save it, and now you'll see a change. Now you'll see how beautiful it's looking. It is pure CSS without any framework, and it's looking amazing and beautiful. It also an eye-catching design. So let's move to the next part. So we have just style the select part and the movie container. Now we have to style the seats. So the selected seats, the occupied seats. So let's move to the next portion and target the seat. Give it a background color is going to be 4 4 4 4 5 1. So the height is going to be 12 pixel because we will give it a height and width, so it will be visible to us. Give it a width of 15 pixel, and also give it an margin of 3 pixel. So we have a space. The margin is going to be 3 pixel. Let's save it, and let's see. Now you will see we have our seats. We also want the border left and top border left and the top right border to be curved. So let's fix this. So in this seats we will give it some of the properties such as border top radius, border top I think we'll give it a border top left radius first of all, border top left radius, because we don't want the whole of the seed to be curved, because it will become a circle. So let's give it a border top left radius of 10 pixel. Also give it a border top right radius of 10 pixel. Let's save it. And now you'll see these become covered and it looks like seeds. Now it's looking good. So in this sheet we also want to do some of the properties with the selected and the occupied seats. So let's target the seats which are selected. So I'll target the selected seats and give them a background color of, it's going to be blue like color, which will be 6 F E A F 6. So let's save it, and now you will see the selected seats will turn blue. So here we have selected seats, and the seats that we have occupied. So let's target the occupied seats. We want a different color for the occupied seats. Let's set the background color to white. We want a background color for the occupied seats is going to be a white, and the background color for the selected seats is going to be blue. Let's save it and go to our project. Here you will see it's not changing. So just to remove the seat class, just remove it from here and let's save it, and now you will see it has been changing. So we want to fix the rows because we want it in this direction, in the row direction. So let's fix it. You will see a simple line of code will do this magic. So let's target the rows, this class. So we will use display flex, and you will see a single line of code will do a magic for us. And here you will see the single line has changing the whole layout. So let's remove it, and now you will see a magic of a single line of code. So here if I will uncomment it, oops, just to remove a comment, and let's save it, and now you will see a changing on the entire layout. So we also want a space between the first two rows and the last two rows, and we also want to implement the hover effect. So let's target the first two rows and then the last two rows. So the first two rows is going to be in the seat, oops, not a dash, dot seat, and the first two rows is going to be colon nth of type. It's going to be colon nth of type. We will target the first two rows and give them a margin right of 18 pixel, and then I will target the last, oops, if there is a spelling mistake, we want a seat. So let's target this seat, and the last two rows is going to be nth of last type, nth of last type, it will be this, and last two rows we will give them a margin left of 18 pixel. Let's save it, and now you will see we have a margin between the first two rows and the last two rows, and it's looking quite beautiful and amazing. So what we'll do is now we'll want to add a hover effect, and we also want to fix the showcase section. So I will go to the, first of all I will implement the hover feature, which is going to be dot seat, oops, dot seat and of not occupied. We don't want to implement the hover effect to the occupied, so that's why I will use not of occupied and hover, oops, use the hover, and the hover is going to be, I think, cursor pointer, because we want it to be clickable, and the transform is going to be scale 1.2 because we want it to increase the size. Now you will see as we are hovering the occupied seats, it's not changing, but as I'm hovering the other seats, this design is changing. But we also don't want the hover effect to our showcase section, so let's fix it. So let's go to the CSS file, and in this file we have a showcase section, showcase, and we don't want this to be implement on the occupied seats, so that's why we'll use not dot occupied. So occupied, don't do a spelling mistake, occupied, and the hover effect is going to be, let's use a curly braces and use a cursor of pointer and transform scale is going to be, I think it will be 1. Oops, we don't want a cursor of default for a showcase section, so let's use default. Let's save it, and now you will see as we are hovering it's not changing. Oops, so there is some mistake. Let's see, it's going to be a dot showcase. Just give it a some space, and in this showcase we want to target the seats, so let's target the seat. Now it will work. Let's see. So now you will see as I'm hovering it's not changing, and the style is also not changing. But if I implement the hover effect on the row section, it will change. So this part of our build is completed. Now what we want to do is to target the showcase. So for showcase, what we want to do is give it a background color of black with an opacity of 0.1. Use the RGBA, give them a background color of 0.1. Padding is going to be a 5 pixel from top and bottom, and 10 pixel from left and right. Oops, not a 19 pixel, 10 pixel from left and right. Border radius is going to be a 5 pixel, and the color is going to be the gray one, which is going to be a 777. So what we'll do, we'll also don't want a list style. Let's save it and let's see. Now you will see we have background color of this black background with an opacity of 0.1, but we want it in the row direction, so let's fix it. So this style is going to be a none. We will use flexbox to move it in the row direction. So let's use display flex. Display is going to be a flex, and justify content is going to be space between. Let's save it, and now you will see it will move in the row direction. Now it has been moved in the row direction, but we want a space between them because the text is not readable. So what we'll do, we'll target the li. So in the showcase we have an li. Oops. So the li is going to be a display of flex. Justify content is going to be a center. Align item is also going to be center, and margin is going to be a 0 to 10 pixel, 0 from top and bottom and 10 pixel from left and right. And now you will see a space. Now you will see we have a space between the left and right, but we also want a space between the text and the seat. So that's why I will target the small tag in our showcase. So let's target the showcase and the li and this. And now let's target the small tag in them. We just want a space between the small tag and the seats, so I will give it a margin left of 2 pixel. Now we want a screen in our project. Let's save it, and now you will see we have this showcase section, this row section and the paragraph, but in the demo we have a screen under the row section, above the row section, and under the showcase section. So what we'll do is we will go to our style sheet, and here you have a screen. So we have, what we have done, we have mistakenly wrap our div of rows in the screens. We want it to be empty, so just remove the last div, one of the div, and use it as an empty screen or empty container. Let's save it and let's go to our style sheet. Now we will create a screen. So for this we will target the screen, which is the empty container. Just give it a background color of white. Height is going to be 70 pixel, not a percent pixel. So width is going to be 100% of the parent container. Whatever the width for the parent container, it's going to be 100%. of this, we want a margin between top and bottom, because as you will see, would here in we don't have a margin spacing between the showcase section and the row section. So we'll give it a margin of 15 pixels from top and bottom and 0 pixel from left and right. Let's see, save it, and now you will see a change. We'll just do some of bunch of properties and it will look like the same as the demo. So what it's going to be, margin from top and bottom is going to be 15 pixel, and we also want to give it a rotate property which is going to be transform rotate x. We want, oops, don't remove brackets, we want it to be minus 45 degree, and we also want a box shadow. So the box shadow is going to be a 0, 3 pixel on the y axis, and the 10 pixel is going to be a blur, and box shadow will be a white color. So that's why we will use 255, oops, not a 2555. We just want 255 for red, 255 for blue, and 255 for green, and the opacity is going to be 0.7. Let's save it, and now you will see it's looking good. We will give it a single property and it will look the same as the code as in the demo. So let's go to the index.html file, and in this screen, under the screen, we will target the container. So target the container, give it a perspective of some greater value which is going to be a 1000 pixel, and give it a margin bottom of 30 pixel. Now save it, and now you will see we have a beautiful looking screen same as the demo, and it's looking amazing and beautiful. So let's move to the next part. So we also want to target the our text and the count, which is going to be this one. So it has a property of count and a total, so we want to target this text. As you see in the demo, we don't have a color for our count and total, so what we'll do, we'll target it not in the container. So let's target p.text. This paragraph has a class of text, and just give them a margin 5 pixels from top and bottom and 0 from left and right, and also target the span in the p tag, which is going to be p.text because it has a class of text, and we will target the span. Just give them a color, oops, what's happening, just give them a color of hash. It's going to be 6 f EAF6, which have used for our selected seeds. Let's save it, and now you will see we have a color for our count and a total price. So the CSS part of our build is completed. Now let's go to our app.js. First of all, I will select or import some of the properties or containers from my index.html file. So for this, first of all, use const. First of all, I will import container, which will be document dot query selector, and in the brackets I will select the container dot container. So in the container, under the container, we have select seeds. So seeds is going to be a document dot query selector all, because we want to select all of the seeds in the same line, so that's why we use query selector all. So for this, in the commas, I will target the row. In the row we have a seed, we will select the seeds in the row, because we just want to select the row seeds, we don't want to select the showcase seeds. So but we also don't want to select the occupied seeds, so that's why I will use not, and in the brackets I will write dot, oops, not a comma, give them a class of occupied. So these are the seats that we want to select. We don't want the showcase seats. We also don't want the occupied seats in the row. So that's why we have used the not. So we have selected container seats. We also select the count which is in the paragraph. So count is going to be document dot get element by id. So in the brackets I will target the count, and we also want to select the total price which is 0 right now. So document dot get element by id, it has an id of total. So let's start use the term of total in the commas. So at the end we want to import the movie select, so which is going to be document dot get element by id, and it has a class name of movie. So let's save it. So this movie select is going to be this one. So we have imported a bunch of properties, or we can say values, from our index.html file. So what I will do, I will run an event listener on the container. So the container is going to be this one. Let's see. So container is the one that has wrapped our screen and our seats. So this is the container that have wrapped the screen and the our rows and the seats in them. So let's add an event listener. Event listener, event listener is going to be a seat click event. So it will be a seat click event. So for seat click event, it will be container dot add event listener. We want an event listener on the click event. So let's run a function. It has an event, and what we'll do is we'll run a bunch of if statements here. So let's use if e dot target, use the correct spelling, e dot target dot class list dot contains. So if the seats contains the class of seat, use the brackets, and in the brackets we will write the name of seats. So if in the container we have a seats, and if these seats have a class name of just seats, not a selected, not occupied, then we will run this function. So if it has a class name of seat, and also these two ampersand signs are for and, if this class has a seat of a class name of seat and not e dot target dot class list dot contains, and in the brackets we want it to be a occupied. So if it has a class name of seat and not a class name of occupied, then we want to run this function. So let's use a curly braces, and in the curly braces what we'll do, we'll toggle and selected event or selected class. So we give it a class name of, let's target this e dot target dot class list dot toggle. Toggle basically stands for a change. If we click it, it will be selected, and if we want to unselect, we will just click it again. So it will be toggle. We'll give it a class of selected. So for selected, under the this we will use update select event. We will create this function. It will be update and selected count. Use a, let's save it, and what we'll do, we will create this function above our event listener, or under we also can create this function at the under. So let's also give it some of the properties, such as before giving it a function, let's use some of the properties, which will be a let ticket price, ticket price. So the ticket price is going to be a plus plus movie select dot value. So let's save it. So basically what we'll do, the movie select portion here in our container, we want to get this value, the $12 price, the $10 price. So that's why we use these properties, and we have imported in this variable, which is a ticket price. So let's create a function for this click event, which is a update selected count. So I will write it the name of the function, which is going to be, so here we'll create a function with the name of update selected count. So let's create a function. So function name will be update selected count. So use the curly braces, and in the curly braces we have a const selected seats. So it's going to be a selected seats, and what we want to do is we just want to select, use a query selector all, and in the brackets we will select all the selected seats. So with the class name of row, with the class name of seat, in the row we have class name of seats, and we also want to have a class name of selected, because we want to select all the selected seats, and we want to update the number of selected seats and the price. So dot row dot seat dot selected, and the other thing we want to select is a count. So const selected seats count, because we want to know how many seats are selected. So just give them selected seats dot length, which will, so first of all we will have a selected seats, the number of the seats that has been selected, and then we use selected seats dot length and import this value in this selected seats count variable. So now we have seats, and we also have a length of the seats that are selected. So what we want to do, we want to change the count dot inner text to selected seats count. It will tell us how many seats are selected. So it will be selected seats, so it will be selected seats count, and for total, which will be at the end of our project or under the row. So total is going to be total dot inner text. We will change the inner text to selected seats count multiplied by the ticket price. So let's save it, and now you will see a change. So movie select event, so let's add another event, because oops, there is some error, I think so. Container dot event listener, so if statement ends here, and after that event we have this bracket. So what it will say, so we have missed a bracket here. So let's save it, and let's remove it from here. So this was the error. Let's see if it has been fixed. So let's go to the console, and here I will inspect, and let's see what is the error. So go to the console. So I think it's looking good. So let's see, now it's looking good. So let's go to our, so we also have an error, I think it's going to be, so let's remove it from, so we want to remove this bracket. So let's save it. So we have added an event listener to the seats of the container, but we also want to add an event listener, not this. So give it a command of event listener, and under the event listener it will have a movie select count, because we also want to select. So it will be a movie select event. So movies, we want to run an event on the movie select, because if we have selected the seats it will change into 1 and $10. So let's select as many seats as you want. So let's change the movie name, because as we change the movie name the price does not change automatically. We just have to unselect them and then select the class movie, and then it will work. So I want to fix this, so that's why we'll use an event listener on the select. So what we'll do, we'll use movie select and add an event listener to this. We will have an event listener of change, because we don't want an event listener of click, because it will change the select count. And we will have an arrow function. We'll use e tag, e in the as an arrow, or we can say as an event. So use an arrow function. So in the brackets we have a ticket price, and for the ticket price we are going to be e dot target dot value, because we want a ticket price to be the selected movie. And we will run a function of update selected count. Let's use the brackets. Now let's save it. Now here you will see the magic. If I am selecting, and let's change the movie name right now. Now if I am changing the movie name, it automatically changes the price. So for example, for a Lion King we have a price of $36 for 4 seats, but I want to select the Joker, and for Joker the price has been changed to $48 for 4 seats. So basically we have completed our project. I will upload all of the code to my GitHub repository and give the link in the description of this video. So if you are interested, you can download it from here and follow this tutorial, and also match your code with this code. So if you have learned something, smash the like button, and also tell me in the comments what you have learned from this video, and also subscribe to this channel. So have a nice day, because this is the end of the tutorial.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.